Hello and welcome to Python tutorial number 94 on Tkinter. Today, as the title of the video suggests, we will look at the radio button. This is more easily understandable by looking at an example rather than explaining it in words. So let's look at this window, and as you can see we have four options which we can select in turn by clicking on the little round button on the left hand side of each option. Once we've selected an option which we're satisfied, we can click on the button which gives us an information message box with the selected option, in this case option D. Of course we can click OK, select a different option, for example option A, and then if we select the option, we now have a message box that says A. Now that we've seen what the output is within our GUI, let's return to the code and see how it's written. We can see here that first of all we have a particular function called showSelectedOption, and this is the one that opens up our message box and reports the option selected by the user. We will see when this function is called later on down in the code. However, for the moment we can go ahead in line 19 and define a string variable within the Tkinter framework called selectedOption, and then we have a list of potential options. Option A, Option B, Option C, and Option D. These are the ones which will then be displayed within our radio buttons. Then we have our label, which tells us to select a given option, which we pack within our frame, and then we create our radio buttons. We can do this using a for loop and creating 4 radio buttons, one for each of the options which we can select. Option A, Option B, Option C, and Option D. For each of these, we say that the radio button is included in our root window. Then we give it our text, which will be Option A, and a value, which will be A. This, of course, in the first case. In the others, it will be B, C, or D. Then, as a final output, we say that the variable is our selected option. What this means is that the variable which our radio button will output and which we will then go and read will be called selected option. Then of course we pack our radio button in line 37, and last but not least we create our button in line 40, 41, 42 and 43, which will allow us to call the showSelectedOption function which we defined earlier. Of course, you can see that we are calling it, or better still, we are associating this function as a command to the button in line 43. In line 45, we pack our button and fill the X value. And finally, we call our root.mainLoop function. Now, if we run the code again and look at the output, we can understand the structure of what we're seeing. First of all, we have our label, which says select an option. Then we have our 4 radio buttons, each of which is mutually exclusive to the others. So of course, if I select option A, and then I go on and select option B, this will deselect option A, because I can only choose one out of the 4. Then finally, we have our getSelectedOption button, which will call the showSelectedOption function, which calls, in turn, our message box, or better still, our information message box. We can see this, of course, by clicking on the button, and here we have our information message box, which reports the letter B, which is the value of our selected option variable. Now I hope all of that was clear enough. However, should you have any further questions, then please let me know in the comments below, and I will do my best to get back to you as soon as possible, as always. The next video will be in 1 week's time. So until then, I invite you to check out my previous tutorials in case you missed any, as well as put your coding skills to the test with my challenges. Both of these are linked in the top right hand corner of your screen, as well as in the video description below. Once again, thank you all for watching today's video, and I look forward to seeing you again soon. Until next time, don't forget to like, share and subscribe, and happy coding!